Hey everybody, welcome to OtherRealm Studio's art stream. We're still working on the Magnolia Foam children's book. Um, wait, okay, so I'm trying to rearrange my upper screen here so that I can see the things that I need to see. So down here we have the reference picture that I'll be working with. That's up here on what's currently page 8, but the pages will probably be rearranged a good bit. Before we can consider it done. So this is for the Magnolia Foam children's book. You can find that on Kickstarter.com. If you search Magnolia Foam children's book on Kickstarter, you should be able to find it. So for rewards, we have the book itself, which will be a paperback signed by both me and my sister Connie, who runs the rescue. You could send your book to Connie's if you already head out that way and are a volunteer. Or you can get the book plus the art print, or you can get a stack of books. And I also, as an add-on, I have some of my reverse paintings on plexiglass. So I have 7 blanks that haven't been claimed, and I also have these 2 foam, and I also have several fantasy creatures that I've done. Oh, and this right down here is a picture of the Mayapple Patch on Deerland, which is where the deer go once they're rehabilitated and can be released. Connie's goal is always to get them to be fully wild so that they can live out, out in the world the way they're meant to. However, that can't always happen, and that's what we'll be illustrating today. She frequently gets calls about piebalds. So if a piebald fawn is unable to follow its mother, then sometimes people will find it and bring it to the rescue. And this is a pair of twins that went off wandering, looking for their mom. I'm thinking that these were found on a golf course or something like that. I don't know. It's a little hard to keep all their stories straight. But sometimes they get found in office complexes or golf courses, or, sometimes they were bedded down like right by a trash can, and it's, 4 a.m. and Mama Deer says this is an excellent place. No one's going to come near here. And she's wrong because she's a deer. She don't know that the trash truck's coming and will spook her little phone right out of its hiding spot. But yeah, so sometimes Connie gets calls about the piebalds, and it's very interesting because it's not just the fact that they have such interesting coat patterns. It's also it's kind of rough on the phone because not only are they less camouflaged, but that the piebald gene is also one that is associated with dwarfism and with deformed legs. So, and also some deformities around the mouth as well sometimes. So you'll get fawns that that can't stand, they can't follow the mother um, because of the legs, um, or that if they can stand, maybe they can't nurse because they have a massive overbite or underbite. And she's had both. And sometimes they'll have deformities because of the dwarfism. Um, all their internal organs are kind of crushed together. They don't have much room. So then they'll have internal problems and uh, will sometimes not make it because of that. Although Connie does really well at managing to keep them alive. I mean, she does what she does better than just about everybody else in the state. She is the foremost deer expert. After 23 years of rescuing and rehabilitating wild white-tailed deer in the state of South Carolina. So she's experienced just about every kind of problem that there is and found ways to overcome it for the most part. But all that is to say, the piebalds typically don't get released. And so they are uh, in some cases, like a 20-year commitment to, get the permits and uh, get the feed and make sure that the fencing is up to code, the correct kind of fencing for deer. Um, make sure there's enough acreage fenced in, and um, also, properly introducing them to the rest of the herd of sanctuary deer and setting them up so that they can have a peaceful life in the sanctuary. And of course, all that on top of their veterinary care. So, rehabilitating deer is, a highly specialized endeavor, but Connie has succeeded where, um, to a degree that's beyond what most other people can do. And she said before that um, that rehabilitating deer is something God has called her to do, and that He continues to call her to do, because one of the ways she knows this is that whenever she's out anywhere and gets a deer call, if she's out um, uh, somewhere in the upstate that she's not usually, someplace that would be ordinarily outside of her driving range, if she happens to be out and gets a deer call, it's usually right near where she is, even if she hasn't told anyone where she's going to be going. So I guess that's the thing about a calling. If it's really what you're meant to do, God doesn't want you to get rusty at it. You will, or the opportunity to practice will always follow you around. Now, I have to say it's not something that I'm particularly gifted at. I mean, I did have a mama cat come up to my house. Uh, and she was not terribly impressed with people. Um, but after I saw a fox outside, which I couldn't really tell what it was at first because it was mostly in the trees and uh, it disappeared so quickly. I couldn't tell if it was supposed to be a fox or a coyote or whatever it was, but I noticed that it was looking in the direction of where Mama Cat had hidden the kittens. And so I persuaded the kittens to get in a box. And then I persuaded Mama Cat to follow me and the kittens. And then I kept them in a bathtub we don't really use. Um, and bought a whole lot of extra kitten formula. And Mama Cat was very grateful to me after that. I think she was not looking forward to raising all those kittens on her own. So she was just as happy to let me take over and pretend they were mine. Um, and even later, I kept one of the kittens and sent the rest over to Connie's with the mama cat so that she could. Yeah, she sees more people than I do, so she'd be able to find a place to give them away, right? So Mama Cat comes back over to my house with the last kitten behind her and makes me take that one too. So so that's why we still have Rue. She hangs out behind me and meows while I'm trying to paint sometimes. And she's an orange cat and very demanding about the freshness of her water. So she's got the kids trained to go in the bathroom and turn on a trickle of water for her. She's so spoiled. But yeah, I don't know how Connie does what she does, but I respect her immensely for it. And so, um, really, all I can do is kind of document the true stories of Connie and the deer at Magnolia Fallen Rescue. Okay, let's see. I think I had the proportions a little bit off here. Okay, so this is the foreleg, and this right here is a streak of color that comes down the back leg. So I was working on trying to find a way to make an animation. And so since I have been very into deer lately, um, I made a uh, kind of a puppet for a program like Moho. That's like a puppet animation program, more or less. But we can't really open it with the trial version, so I'm a little stuck now. And so I thought, since I have Clip Studio EX, and we have a whole animation uh, menu down here, I thought maybe I could open it up in this and make a new animation out of it. But I'm not really sure where to start with that. So the first thing I tried, out of what seemed like it would be the way to go, didn't work. So I'll try something different later. And I will let y'all know if I get anywhere with it. Okay, so here I'm going to have to take a little bit of artistic license and make things darker so that it's easier to tell the difference between all these legs. Oh, fawn are just all leg. Okay, so this is a hind leg back here. Let's make it darker so that it recedes visually. Um, it's a little more confusing than this in the photo, but that's one of the good things about doing this with um, paintings, even digital paintings, rather than just doing a photo documentary type thing. Is that you can emphasize what needs to be emphasized and de-emphasize, you know, the things that don't matter so much. And you can pick and choose where you need to draw the eye. And I don't have Photoshop, I only have Clip Studio Paint, and this is primarily a drawing software. Uh, so I wouldn't be able to do a lot of photo manipulation anyway, even if I had studied that. I have not, by the way. I have had uh, I've had enough trouble teaching myself how to use Clip Studio for the past, oh goodness gracious, however many years. Um, let's see. Shadow goes about like this. The shadow in the picture is a little warmer than this, but is it really going to come across as white if I don't use a blue tinted shadow? That's another consideration. Okay. Let's touch up this ear a bit. I had forgot for a second that I got started on it and didn't finish. So you can see here in this picture that the nose, the little muzzle here, is very tiny and delicate. And so sometimes that'll happen. They'll have kind of like a big forehead and a little extra tiny muzzle. And that's kind of common from the piebald fawn that I've seen at the rescue. I need to come up with a new playlist. I've listened to this one often enough that it's kind of become an earworm, which I don't mind. There are much worse ones I've had. Um, but most of my streams are kind of sounding the same now. The other playlist I have that, it kind of works on one hand, but on the other hand, is a little short and choppy. So I need to give them all a listen again. This playlist is constructed entirely from Dark Fantasy Studios. I'm not sure which album. It might be from a couple of them. And I paid for the premium license on these. And the license is for being able to use them while streaming or as background music in videos and other applications. So I'm covered. This is allowed. Okay, I don't really see. Um, okay, so the hoof right here, I think actually is a darker colored hoof. Sometimes the piebald have little pinky hooves, but just above the hoof point, there's little flecks of white, so I think I'll put that in. Pop that in. What are we doing? Okay, now it's changed. Okay, so up here, a couple of flecks of white. Let's put some shine on the hooves. A couple of dark points. So I've really wanted to do this project for several years, and I have not felt confident enough in my art to do it until recently. And even now, my art's improving every day, especially with all this practice that I'm getting in. So everything I do is training my eye to observe more and better. Let's see, there is a slight muscle up through here that I will want to highlight a little bit in the fur. And darken just a little back in here. Because there's like a little divot here that shows up when the deer has his foreleg extended like this. You know, art is work performed to a standard. And I'm not going to just say they have little stick legs and that's the end of it. Now, I want you to, when you open the pages of this book, I want you to be able to feel what the deer feel like, to get an idea of what it's like to hold them and experience them in like a 3D kind of way, almost. And oh, today I posted on Facebook and I posted uh, the art print of Connie's hands holding the deer. Except it looks like this, but with the background is a yellowy green baby blanket. And so usually my work does not show up so great as a 3D object on Facebook posts, but this one really turned out great. It looks amazing. You should go find it. Um, the fawn's head is uh, in front of its body, and the body looks like it really is nestled in Connie's hands, and um, it looks like she's holding it up off the blanket in the background. It's really fantastic. It's like the best result I've ever had on the Facebook 3D tool. Kind of wish I could figure out a way to have that available um, on something other than just a silly Facebook post, but just a Facebook post is still pretty decent since it looked that good. So, one of the things I was thinking of, hmm, no, this is actually supposed to be higher up. Okay, so one of the things I was thinking of is possibly doing a read aloud or a video version of the children's book. I'm not 100% sure how that's supposed to work, but it seems like. Okay, let's put Connie's hand and wrist in here. I think her hand actually ought to be a little narrower coming up here. Um, so, yeah, I was thinking that um, maybe instead of doing an art stream, I could just read the book. And that could be something that your kids could watch. Because kids love to be read to. Let's blend this and see if I've got anything good here. Um, if I could save it as an audiovisual file and add that to the rewards, would that be something that would be interesting? Um, do I need to look into being able to do that? right here, I just need to get the shades right on Connie's hands down here because, like, the fingers are not visible because they're curving up under the deer's rib cage to hold him up still. But her knuckles are slightly. Hold on. Okay, and once I get her hand established in here, then I can do the deer's fur because her hand's kind of buried up under its belly. And so the little baby fuzz will overlap her hand a little. Yesterday, I think I went over on my time a lot, maybe. Was yesterday the stream where I went for 2 hours? So I keep saying I need to make some of these a little shorter. Because I really am tired. There's been stressful stuff going on in my household, but it's only going to be worse if I don't get the things done that I want to do. It'll just be worse. It'll be like, not only are there medical emergencies and events that I'm supposed to plan and that don't get done, and things I'm supposed to move and go on from there. Not only all that, but I didn't get to finish my project that I've wanted to do for years, and I don't want to live like that. So the Magnolia phone book is a priority for me, and I'm getting this thing done. So the Kickstarter is not for funds to create the book. It's not really for funds to paint it. I have already committed to not taking any additional art commissions. I've got a few small ones and one big one to finish up, and then I'm done for a while. I have decided to take a step back from Comic Cons for the rest of this year and probably next year as well. And probably by the time I'm able to take on vending at Comic Cons again, I won't be able to get a booth anywhere anyway. Because I was one of the first vendors at most of the cons in this area. So if you're in at the beginning, they kind of give you first pick to get a booth at the next one. Well, you lose your spot if you don't continue doing that. And I'm reaching peace about that, I guess. It's gonna be kind of sad not seeing my friends that I've made there, but maybe I can go to some for fun for once. And see them again there. Right, I feel like I've got this hind leg just a little too wide. So I'm going to work on edging the towel here. And I'm going to deepen some of the shadows to make sure that all these legs stand out from the white towel that they're on. How much leg, y'all? They're just so cute. So yeah, let me know if an audiobook or a video of me reading it and going through the pages is something that y'all would be interested in, and I can see about figuring out how to make it happen. Um, see, this leg right here, there's almost like a little ankle bone right here. I don't know what it's called exactly, but it curves around like that. And let's just put in the shadows on this white because it looks too flat if I don't. Okay, let's give it a save. And reset display. zoom back in on this and compare it. Alright, so probably what I'm going to be doing is zooming way into the face here and doing the careful pixel by pixel thing because I don't want to get my own sister's face wrong. That would be awful. But first, maybe I should finish up this leg at least before moving on back to Connie's face. Wring out the rest and get back to it. Alright, and I still have a lot of blendy stuff and painty stuff to do with the hands. Skin is a little trickier than fur because fur you can just add more brush strokes. Skin doesn't work like that. Okay, let's see. Alright, so right here we're going to have this long kind of streak down, denoting where the bone is and where the fur changes direction. And right here there's actually a streak of brown coloring that shows the edge of the leg, so that's nice. It just happens to be right there where I need it to differentiate between the background. This spot right here is where it's darkest. And then I can go a little bit lighter. And for this being white, it takes a lot of bluish gray or shadow colors. But for some reason, this is one of those brain shortcut things. For some reason, once it's done, it looks white. And see, this is why when you want to, if you want to like go into Photoshop and brighten somebody's teeth, you don't ever take it up to the full white. That just looks scary. It falls right into the uncanny valley of, I don't know, Colgate. So yeah, not even teeth are bright white. And neither is fawn fur. Okay, so up in here, this is actually more of a brown patch. And so let's come back in here, put this in here, and so this is about where the knee is, or the knee just starts to begin right here, so it needs to be a little bit wide compared to the rest of the leg. And I need to remember where I have not actually painted anything white. It's just the background Wait, what was this supposed to represent here? Here, it goes down. Okay, so this is a little hollow right here before we get into bright white where the light hits. And this is another very slight little hollow. Um, oh, so drawing this, I can kind of see where this bone, where the, um, I guess it's the bone, where the phone's front leg, it should go straight down here. But actually, it's bowed down and curving so that uh, his little toes would point in. And this is a problem with piebald deer because they have the leg deformities frequently. So yeah, I learn all kind of stuff by looking very closely at the pictures. I just want to very gently add a little bit of highlighting to make this a little fuzzy. A little bit of texture for the hair. And come back to almost like this cowhide kind of pattern coming up his leg. So, since I felt so strongly about this project, um, and since Connie has gotten a lot of support from wonderful volunteers and uh, lots of people who show up to her events, um, one of the things that I thought would really make it feasible to uh, to create the book and finish it and actually get it in print um, was to run the Kickstarter so that people could order a copy or, well, pledge. Kickstarter says I can't say it's a pre order, but um, I thought that people would really like to uh, pledge to support the book and in return get a book as a reward. But um, the Kickstarter's going really slow, and I'm still trying to figure out why. I mean, it has been a few years since I've run one, but uh, I managed to publish uh, comics for people who wanted to see them in print, and my book, again, enough people wanted to see my book in print and they helped make it possible. And I kind of thought that the Magnolia Fawn book would be more the same. It seemed entirely feasible to me. But I don't know. I've been talking with some other creators, and they say that Kickstarter is kind of different than it used to be. Some are even saying that bigger companies have moved in and they're just uh, using it as an advertising platform and kind of burying the products from the small creators um, that it was originally made for. Saying um, that they're releasing a new product that couldn't get made, but in fact they were gonna release it all along anyway. And well, no matter what, I'm going to finish this book, but uh, I gotta say, print's gonna be really tricky. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm competing with bigger companies and uh, they're taking advantages of loopholes, or if maybe what Kickstarter is good at doing is no longer uh, a way that I can operate or something I can work with. So, I mean, one theory is that Kickstarter's changed and it's less good for small creators, and you're not generating any interest from the other people who are already in Kickstarter and familiar with how it works. Um, One theory is that people don't want to be, you know, perhaps the audience isn't really crossing over. Maybe the people who are most interested in Magnolia Fawn are also uh, distrustful of shopping online or investing in a project online. And, I can't fault them for that. It's their money. They can spend it in the means uh, that they feel fit. And I do still expect that if I do get it printed, it will probably do pretty well at like open house events and stuff in person. It's a lot harder to really explain how a book is meant to be. Like, I can't just tell you that it's going to be a high quality book. It's going to be the best thing that I've ever worked on. Um, I've poured my heart and soul into it, and even though all these things are true, um, without seeing it in person, without holding it and turning the pages, uh, how are you really going to know? I mean, I'm excited to hold it and turn the pages, and I'm doing all this for it already. I already know that I'll be creating it to the best of my ability, but what does that mean? I don't know yet because I haven't. Yet, um, I have not yet reached the best of my ability. I feel like I'm coming close with this though. I mean, Connie's a fantastic subject. So are the deer. It's a good cause. More people should know about what it takes and what it's like. I think it's a valuable story that needs to be in the world. Um, like, there's so many reasons for me to do this and to see this project through to the end, no matter what. Um, and maybe I shouldn't get too fussed over whether it's ever going to see print or not. Things will work out the way they're meant to. Okay, come in here. Now here I've just barely roughed in Connie's face, so don't make fun of me. I know she's so much prettier in person. This is just the sketchy, painty, well, underpainting side of things. So don't be mad at me for not doing her justice yet. Okay. Okay. So I hope y'all remember what I just said about how when you're working with teeth, you cannot, you absolutely cannot just paste them all in bright white. Your whites will look whiter if there's actually a bluish shadow. So I have been working on my technique for teeth. Hey, Star Storyteller. Yeah, so highlights are another tricky one. And I was doing a bluish shadow with those, but I think I prefer a uh, a skin tone type shadow. Um, Especially for this picture. So here you can't, in the reference photo, you can't really see the whites of Connie's eyes, but I might put that in regardless because things. Um, so yeah, like a warmer color. Because your eyes are not gonna be a brilliant white in the same way that your teeth are. There's gonna be the shadow from all the skin tone around them. But here in the in the reference picture, you can kind of see. You can mostly see Connie's mascara and not a lot, you know, and a lot of eyelash, but not a lot of actual eyes. So I might change that up a little bit for the picture. Okay, and in here, I'm kind of wondering how how dark should I go? Is this okay? Is this gonna work? Or am I gonna have to hit the undo button and try something different? Hmm. Hit the undo. Let's go. Let's try this color. Had kind of an interesting experience about teeth recently. My daughter is getting her braces off soon, and so they were asking, and they were working on scanning for the retainer and stuff. if they wanted, if if I wanted to have like the little uh, edges of her teeth ground down straight. And I'm like, pardon? This is a thing? So evidently it's a thing that there are, if you look really, 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 really closely at your teeth, you'll see that there's uh, little grooves, little ridges, little irregularities um, in your teeth. And now I cannot stop thinking about it because that's what I'm working on right here. Um, yeah, I'm excited for her to get her braces off. It's like I'm sure that the first thing she's going to want to eat is popcorn. But yeah, they're asking, do you want to grind down like the edges of the teeth? And I'm like, all right, for one, that's way too nitpicky. Like, this is not something that normal people ever notice. uh, I'm like, all right, so okay, it would seem that if you do that, you'll kind of have um kind of, hate to say it, but almost fake plasticky looking perfection teeth that might have come from a factory, and I am not sure that we're gonna go with that because she can always get that kind of teeth when she's 90 years old and needs fake ones. Not sure it's really that appropriate for a 14-year-old. And she's and the technician, I guess technician is correct. Um, it's like, oh yeah, sometimes parents just like to keep the character of their children's teeth. I'm like, wow, it never even occurred to me that it's a question of the character of their teeth. That's way too much focus. I mean, after being married over 20 years, um, my husband has only just realized, and even then, only because I pointed out to him, that I have one crooked tooth. It's in the front. He wouldn't have seen that, but no. I mean, people do notice your teeth, but as long as there's nothing like glaringly obvious going on, they don't care. And as long as Miss Chaos is not going to be on a movie screen with her face magnified several thousand times its actual size, I don't think it's going to be an issue. Oh wow, ain't that the truth? We are very glad that it's the truth. All this pressure about appearance, um, and fashion and having to look the best, um, and all this competitiveness among women, uh, it's for other women. We need to be honest. These are not men's standards. Men don't care, or they do care, but they care about things other than where you apply your blush. Oh wow. Well, in Hollywood, the most important thing is to stand out because there's a billion people waiting tables in LA who would love to take your spot. So if you stand out and you're unique and you can't be swapped out, then that's your insurance. That seals your position. So maybe if something isn't conventionally pretty, or if you kind of wonder, well, why didn't her parents fix that back when she should have got braces? Um, Actually, it's it can be a plus once you secure a part because it's your insurance to keep it. That's kind of like uh, Fran Dreschner and her accent. Um, she had actually gotten lessons to eliminate the accent, and she can speak without the accent. But when she got the part as the nanny, um, now it's an iconic part of her character. Yeah, trends come and go. It just depends on uh, what worked that one time, and it'll become a trend, and people see if it works for them too. And if it doesn't, then it's not a trend anymore. The ship has sailed. You'll be made fun of if you try to row it along. Really, I think that's what trends are. People jump onto something thinking that it's going to magically fix uh, whatever's going on. You go change how you do your blush to think it's magically going to make you prettier. Um, Gonna attract somebody that you wanted to attract before, but your old blush wasn't cutting it. Um, So you just jump on board and uh, do what worked for somebody else, like it's some kind of magic talisman, and uh, it's not going to work. The only reason whatever weird thing worked for them, or not even weird sometimes, but whatever unique thing worked for them, and the only reason that it worked for them was because it was them. It worked for that person because that person was being genuine and they found something that was good that they could work with, whether it's uh, how to do your makeup in the tutorial, or uh, how to earn money with this one weird trick, um, or how to get a part in the movie. And it worked for them because it worked for them. They hit their stride with it, being genuine. It's not the action itself that's magic. It's being yourself and sticking to it no matter what. And you don't see the hundreds of hours, the hundreds of thousands of hours of practice and work to achieve that genuine uh, end. All you see is um, the part that you can perceive of what they did. And say you try doing that yourself, and why didn't it work? This trend is over. Let's see if I can zoom in here. So, ripping these from TikTok videos is uh, blurry at best. So I'm picking out features and adjusting a little bit, um, because first you have to get a good screenshot, and that's difficult. And then second, you have to make sure that uh, it translates well into Paint. Okay, so I think that her chin needs to be rounded and adjusted a little bit more this way. So what I actually wanted was uh, an instance like half a second earlier or later than what I actually managed to achieve when I took the screenshot. So I'm trying to bring this painting more in line to what I had in mind when I was trying to get the reference. Okay, so right here there's kind of a complicated shadow. So I need to build up the warm tones here. Darken this bit by bit right here. And in the photo, it's looking a little bluish cast right here, but I don't think I can do bluish without destroying the balance of my other colors, if that makes any sense. So what I have here is uh, a couple of the skin tones leaning towards the grayish side. So I'm going to see if I can build up this particular complicated shadow by using some of those and hoping for the best. Alright, it needs to be darker. Because if it's not darker, we lose the tip of her nose. Also, something I need to do is go back over all my drawings and put in uh, a layer for overlay for light and a layer for multiply and paint in the shadows to deepen the shadows and brighten the highlights. And that'll really make all the art for this book pop. One of the illustrations that I already did that one for was for the mother deer and fawn, and that one turned out really good. I'm pretty happy with it. And I've done some of that on the creek bed picture. And so those are the two that are coming closest to looking finished. Okay, so what it is here is this shadow from the hat is casting bluish. I think so. That's what's going on. So that means I also need to take this color and touch in here. Let's see. Back in here for this shadow. Um, and deepen the shadow around the eye before I do the whole eyelashes and mascara and eyeliner. Connie does tend to draw her eyes a bit dark. I usually go without makeup myself. I cannot be fussed about it. I've My skin's a little bit sensitive too, so my eyes will start watering about 3 hours in, and it all ends up wiped off anyway. Okay, so this is just more building in some shadows. I will fix this more later, but I need to back up and make sure that what I'm doing is still serving the entirety of the picture and not just this zoomed in angle. Right, so complicated shadow is complicated. Uh, I'm still not happy with the transition from the shadow to the cheek. What am I missing? What's happening here? Let me see if I can blend it down more and make it a little more subtle. Let's try. Also, my painting's getting a little bit thin here. The under sketch is showing through. So that's not good. We don't need to leave it like that. Oh, something else weird that's going on that Connie told me about, and I'm gonna have to do something. Um, I just heard a car, so that reminded me. Um, so I live right next door to the phone rescue. Oh, see you later, Star Storyteller. So I live next door to the phone rescue. And so people will come up and drive up to or try to find the rescue and drop off a deer, um, or come to volunteer. But usually they're dropping off deer because this is that season. And they pull up at my gate first. They did not used to do this. This is new. So, uh, so they'll pull up at my gate and they'll be like, "Well, this isn't uh, what I thought," and they'll call Connie, and she's like, "Okay, how many gates do you see?" And if they say two, she says, "Drive down to the next driveway," because mine is the double gate, hers is the single green gate. So, uh, I don't know. I think maybe we need a sign that says if this is about deer, you want next door. So Joe's office overlooks the driveway. So I wonder if he's noticed more people pulling around our driveway first. Um, but yeah, we've seen a couple, but I don't know. We'll have to maybe we'll hang a sign up or something. I don't know. Um, yeah, I don't think I can do what Connie does. I can draw pictures. Um, Saving lives is kind of not my wheelhouse. Blank eyes are always just sort of vaguely disturbing for a while. But scribbled in eyes are also disturbing, so I don't know. I don't know if this is an improvement or not. It's, trust me, this isn't how things are gonna look for long. Let me see. So with that, so I have like the warmer tone white, or the lightest of the skin tones actually, uh, in the eye currently, and now I'm going to lighten that up with, yeah, with the white, and mix that on the screen somewhat, mostly towards the bottom. This is the part that always looks so deranged. Okay, now we blend this in. Um, and I guess I'll come back and lighten it up again some more later. But let's see. Here, I need to actually adjust because her eyes are more closed than that. Now, getting the shape of a half lidded eye is crucial if you want it to look right. So, I don't know why it is, but there are certain features that if you don't get them right, um, then you just have horrors going on and not a good portrait. It's just between weird brain shortcuts that don't actually work and the uncanny valley. It's hard to win sometimes. Okay, so here, so we'll get the shape of the eye corrected a bit, and up here this needs to lighten a little. and it's time to back up again and make sure that I am serving the entire drawing and not just the part that I'm hyper focusing on. Whew. Wring out the wrist again. Oh goodness. I just realized that my playlist is gone or has ended. It's still up here. And it's been over an hour and a half. So I'm not sure that I would call this a stopping place. So let me at least put a little eyeshadow on Connie here. And just because I can't stand leaving her look unnatural. Okay, wait a minute. Where was I going with this? All right. I don't want to leave my paintings like in the lurch, I guess. So there's some things that I feel like I can't just leave undone and come back to next time. I would not feel right. So maybe I should at least finish the eyes. Blending tool is our friend, especially for things like eyelids that need to look this soft. There goes the savey circle. Okay. Alright. So I'm not 100% happy with the face just yet. It's gonna take, um, yeah, it's gonna take finishing up some work, and also it'll look much better once there's some eyebrows. I haven't even had time to think about eyebrows yet. Um, but this is where we are currently. It's not bad for almost 2 hours work. So let's give this a save. And let's see. Come back and watch me again at probably 8 o'clock again tomorrow night, Eastern Standard Time. Uh, don't forget, we have, yeah, scroll this up. We have the Kickstarter at Magnolia Phone Children's Book. Um, the goal is to raise the money to actually print it rather than just have an ebook. Um, so, all or nothing, this project will only be funded if it reaches its goal by Sunday, July 7th at 7:09 a.m. And oh my goodness, that's not. AVG's being a little pushy. Um, so yeah, even if you can't back the book, I would still appreciate it if you would follow the project, if you'd click the remind me button, um, give it a share on Facebook or what used to be Twitter or whatever your social media is. Um, every little bit counts. So thank you so much for hanging out with me, for watching this process, for hearing about the deer at Magnolia Falls, and I'll see you all later. Bye.